Hey, good morning. Or afternoon. Or, you know what? Let's not put labels on it. It's Sunday. Time isn't real today. You know that feeling when you wake up, look at the clock, and realize there's absolutely no reason to rush? That's the vibe right now. My curtains are half open, the sunlight looks like melted gold sneaking into my room, and I'm wrapped in my blanket like a human burrito. Welcome to Talk About Your Lazy Sunday. This is your cozy corner of the internet where we just exist. No pressure, no productivity guilt, no alarms. Just you, me, maybe a cup of coffee, and a bunch of random thoughts that somehow make sense on a Sunday. Okay, so let's start with the morning, or whatever counts as morning for you. For me, that's somewhere around 10:47 a.m. when I finally admit I can't keep scrolling TikTok in bed forever. You ever tell yourself you'll get up after one more video and then suddenly the phone hits you in the face because you've been lying there too long? Yeah, that's my version of cardio. There's something sacred about the slowness of a Sunday. It's like the world collectively agrees to just chill out a bit. Even the traffic outside my window is quieter. I swear, even the birds sound more relaxed, like they've traded their usual chirp chirp for vibe. Okay, confession time. I'm one of those people who pretends I'm going to make a fancy Sunday breakfast like the Pinterest girlies with smoothie bowls and avocado toast. But 9 times out of 10, I just end up eating cereal straight from the box. It's not glamorous, but it's real. There's something about crunching dry cereal that feels almost rebellious. Like, yeah, I don't need milk. I make my own rules. You know what else I love about lazy Sundays? The permission to just exist without performing. No makeup, no tight jeans, no pretending to be on. I'll look at myself in the mirror and be like, wow, is that me or a character from a survival documentary? But who cares? It's Sunday, baby. Let's talk about that first cup of coffee. It's not just caffeine. It's a ritual. That quiet 5 minutes where you watch it brew, smell the roasted comfort filling the kitchen. It's therapy. You take that first sip and think, okay, maybe life isn't that bad. I always feel like my coffee reflects my mood. On Mondays, it's double shot of espresso. Let's survive. On Sundays, it's let's see what happens. I'll pour it into my favorite mug. You know, the one that's chipped on the handle but somehow tastes better than the others? And just sit by the window doing absolutely nothing. And that nothing is the best part. There's such an underrated beauty in doing nothing and just existing without trying to be useful. Society makes us feel like we have to be productive all the time, even on weekends. Like, if you didn't wake up early, work out, clean the entire apartment, and write a 5-year plan by noon, you're wasting your day. But what if rest is the achievement? What if giving your brain a break is just as valuable as grinding through your to-do list? Lazy Sundays are like a reset button. Not just for your body, but your soul. It's when you can actually hear your thoughts instead of rushing past them. Outdoors, bells chirping, lo-fi music playing gently in the background and continues. Although sometimes those thoughts are just, did I remember to take the chicken out of the freezer? The art of slow living. I feel like we underestimate how powerful slow can be. Slow mornings, slow meals, slow everything. We've been trained to think slowness equals laziness, but it's not. It's mindfulness without the fancy apps or incense. You know when you're brushing your hair really slowly, staring into space, and your mind drifts to the most random topics like, I wonder what happened to my 4th grade teacher, or do dogs know about weekends? That's your brain decompressing. Sundays give us space for that, mental wandering. It's when we realize how tightly wound we've been all week. And that's why it's okay to be lazy sometimes. There's a quote I love, "You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be." And if where you need to be today is in bed wearing mismatched socks, watching comfort shows, that's okay. Speaking of comfort shows, let's talk about the eternal Sunday dilemma. What to watch when you've already watched everything? I don't know why, but every Sunday I find myself scrolling through Netflix like it's my job. I'll click on something, watch 15 minutes, then decide, not the vibe, and go back to scrolling. By the time I find something, it's already dark outside. But sometimes I end up re-watching the same old shows, Friends, Gilmore Girls, New Girl, or whatever feels like a warm blanket for the brain. Those shows aren't just entertainment, they're emotional support. They remind you that chaos is normal, that being messy is human, and that laughter is still possible even on the most unproductive days. The soft mess. Somewhere between breakfast cereal and Netflix, I'll probably look around my room and think, I should really clean this place up, and then proceed not to. There's something deeply satisfying in living in what I call organized chaos. Like, yeah, there's a pile of clothes on the chair, but I know exactly what's in that pile. I've memorized the topography of my mess. But on Sundays, the mess feels less heavy. It's like, yeah, I'll deal with it later. And for once, that doesn't come with guilt. It's funny how on weekdays, we measure our worth by productivity, emails, deadlines, checklists. But on Sundays, our worth is in softness, in being gentle with ourselves. Maybe that's what lazy Sundays are really about. Softness. Soft pajamas, soft blankets, soft hearts. We spend so much of our week being hard on ourselves, trying to be perfect, to do more, to be more. Sundays whisper, you're already enough. Random Sunday thoughts. You ever noticed how different the air feels on Sundays? It's slower, thicker somehow, like it's carrying the weight of collective relaxation. Even time stretches differently. You'll think it's 3 p.m. and it's only noon. Sometimes I'll journal on Sundays, not in a structured way, just random thoughts like, do I actually like oat milk or am I just pretending? Or maybe I don't need to fix everything right now. Those kinds of thoughts feel like quiet little breakthroughs. I think lazy Sundays are emotional detoxes in disguise. They strip away the noise and make you face yourself, gently. You realize that maybe the reason you're exhausted isn't because you're lazy, but because you've been trying too hard to keep everything together. So, yeah, today, I'm letting go of the need to be impressive. I'm choosing comfort over chaos, stillness over speed, because sometimes the most radical thing you can do is nothing. Okay, that's the first cup of coffee done, literally and metaphorically. In part 2, we'll move into the midday of our lazy Sunday, snacks, comfort TV, that 3 p.m. nap temptation, and the weird guilt that sometimes creeps in, and how to deal with it. So, stay cozy, grab your blanket, maybe refill that mug.
Okay, we've survived the morning. Barely. Coffee's done, breakfast was questionable, and now we've entered the most confusing part of the day, that weird in-between time. It's not morning anymore, but it doesn't feel like afternoon yet. You know what I mean? It's that part of Sunday where time stops making sense. You could tell me it's 1 p.m. or 4 p.m., and I'd believe you either way. Right now, I'm sitting on the couch in my oversized t-shirt that says Nap Queen, surrounded by a chaotic mix of snacks. Half a bag of chips, one sad-looking apple, and a cup of cold coffee I keep reheating and forgetting about. Classic. There's this beautiful, almost spiritual laziness that hits around this time. The sun is bright, the house feels still, and you start contemplating things that make absolutely no sense. Like, what if I just moved to the mountains and became a tea expert? Or should I finally start that passion project I've been ignoring since 2021? But instead of doing any of that, you just lie back and scroll memes. And honestly, that's the right choice. The Sunday menu, snacks, and survival. Can we talk about Sunday eating habits? Because it's chaos. Pure chaos. On weekdays, I'm like, let's meal prep, eat clean, nourish the body. On Sundays, it's let's order fries and call it self-care. There's something about Sundays that turns my kitchen into a whatever happens, happens zone. I'll open the fridge 6 times in an hour, hoping new food magically appears. I'll stare at a yogurt like it's a life decision. And cooking? Forget it. I could cook. I have ingredients. I have time. But do I have the emotional energy to wash dishes afterward? No. So I'll end up making the laziest meal imaginable. Maybe instant noodles, maybe a grilled cheese, maybe just toast and peanut butter. But somehow, that food tastes better on Sundays. Like, it's not gourmet, but it's comfort. There's something sacred about standing in your kitchen, wearing pajamas, holding a spoon of peanut butter, and just vibing. You don't need a table setting, or matching cutlery, or a fancy plate. It's just you, your snack, and your thoughts. Digital daydreaming. Now, let's be honest. A big part of lazy Sundays is screen time. We all pretend we're gonna unplug and be mindful, but 20 minutes later, we're deep into a YouTube rabbit hole watching videos like 10 signs you might secretly be a houseplant. And that's okay, because the internet on Sundays is different, softer. Even the memes hit differently. I'll scroll through TikTok and see cozy content creators showing Sunday reset routines. And I'm like, wow, so clean, so peaceful. Then I look at my own bed that looks like a laundry mountain and think, yeah, no, not today. But you know what's funny? Even that scrolling is part of the vibe. Because Sundays aren't about escaping reality. They're about observing it from your blanket fort. You're half participant, half spectator, watching the world do its thing while you recharge your social battery. And sometimes, between the endless memes and random videos, you stumble upon something that actually inspires you. A quote, a short vlog, a random creator talking about slowing down. And it hits different when you're in that Sunday mood. Maybe that's the secret. Rest creates space for reflection. You're not rushing, you're receiving. That's deep for someone who's been eating chips in bed for 3 hours, but hey, lazy doesn't mean unwise. The all-important 3 p.m. slump. The 3 p.m. moment, when your body says, we could nap, and your brain says, but what if we just scroll for another hour? Every Sunday, without fail, I hit that point where I have zero motivation to move. Like even reaching for the remote feels like an Olympic sport. And it's not even tiredness. It's peaceful paralysis. You're comfortable, content, but slightly guilty about how content you are. Sometimes I'll lie there and start negotiating with myself. Okay, if I nap now, I'll still have time to do laundry later. Then the nap lasts 3 hours and I wake up at sunset like I just time traveled. But that's the beauty of a lazy Sunday nap. It's never planned, always chaotic, and somehow magical. You wake up disoriented, hair a mess, not sure what year it is, but your soul? Refreshed. And you know that post-snap moment where the sky outside is golden and your blanket feels like heaven? That's Sunday magic right there. Golden hour feelings. There's something about Sunday afternoons that makes everything nostalgic. The way the sunlight hits the wall, the quiet hum of life outside, it feels like the world is winding down just a little bit. It's that golden hour peace that makes you reflective. You start thinking about the week ahead, not in a stressful way, but in a, maybe I'll be okay kind of way. I'll usually grab another drink, maybe iced tea this time, sit by the window and just watch. The way the light changes, how the neighborhood slows down, how even the sky looks lazier. You might notice little things you ignore on busy days. The sound of kids playing outside, the smell of someone's dinner cooking, the way your own heartbeat slows down when you're not rushing anywhere. That's the moment I start to realize lazy doesn't mean wasted. It means present. You're giving yourself permission to exist in the moment, to breathe without agenda, to be human without expectation. Now, I know the internet loves the term self-care. Candles, face masks, bubble baths, and those are lovely. But real self-care, it's also this. It's letting yourself off the hook. It's forgiving yourself for not having everything figured out. It's allowing your body to rest without guilt. It's saying, I did enough this week. I deserve peace. Sometimes self-care on a Sunday looks like not washing your hair, or turning your phone to do not disturb, or just staring at the ceiling while your playlist plays softly in the background. I used to think I needed to earn rest, like I could only relax after being productive. But that mindset burned me out. Now I see rest as maintenance, not reward. Like charging your phone. You wouldn't let it die before plugging it in, so why do that to yourself? So yeah, if you're listening to this right now while doing nothing, congratulations. You're practicing radical self-care. Tiny joys. I think lazy Sundays are built on tiny joys. The small, almost invisible things that make you smile without effort. Like warm socks straight from the dryer, or the sound of rain hitting the window, or realizing you still have leftovers from last night's pizza. Those tiny joys are what make Sundays special. They remind you that happiness doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It can be quiet, domestic, even a little messy. I once read this quote that said, "Rest is not idleness. It's the fertile ground for joy." And that's exactly what lazy Sundays give us. Space for joy to grow. You might not do anything productive today, but you're still restoring something important. Your peace. The laundry lie. Okay, let's be honest. At some point during every Sunday, I say, I'll do laundry later. Spoiler, I never do. It's like this ongoing fantasy, the belief that somehow at 6 p.m., future me will suddenly become a responsible adult and fold everything. Nope. She never shows up. But I've made peace with that. Because sometimes later is just a softer way of saying, not today. And that's valid. There's always next Sunday, right? I think that's another gift of lazy days. They teach you patience with yourself. You don't have to fix, finish, or control everything. Some things can wait. And when you stop rushing, you realize life isn't this endless checklist. It's a collection of small, gentle moments. The I should be doing more feeling. Let's talk about that little monster. Guilt. Even on our laziest days, there's always that whisper in the back of our head saying, you should be doing something. Cleaning, studying, planning, evolving, whatever. That guilt is sneaky. It makes you feel like you're failing for resting. But here's the truth. Your worth isn't tied to your output. You don't have to earn your existence. You don't have to be busy to be valuable. It took me a long time to learn that. Now, when that guilt shows up, I just tell it, not today. Because rest isn't wasted time. It's preparation for everything else. So, if right now you're lying on your bed, phone in hand, maybe feeling half guilty for doing nothing, take this as your permission slip. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to take it slow. You're allowed to let today.
Okay, we've made it to the best part of a lazy Sunday. Evening. You know that feeling when the light outside turns that perfect shade of gold and everything just slows down a little more? That's where we are. The coffee has been replaced by tea, the snacks have evolved into whatever's left in the kitchen, and I'm still wearing the same t-shirt I woke up in. Which honestly, at this point, feels like an emotional support outfit. The day's been slow, soft, full of doing nothing, and now the world outside the window is starting to yawn. This is my favorite kind of quiet, the kind that doesn't feel empty, but full of warmth, calm, and that bittersweet feeling that the weekend's ending, but somehow it's okay. That sunset moment. Have you ever noticed how Sunday sunsets feel different? They're not loud or dramatic. They're tender, like the world is gently tucking you in. Sometimes I'll sit by my window or on the balcony, drink in hand, just watching the light fade. The way it shifts from golden to pink to that deep blue that feels like velvet. It's like time is sighing softly, wrapping up another week. And in that moment, I always find myself thinking, not in a deep existential way, but just little reflections. Things like, wow, I made it through another week. Or maybe I didn't get everything done, but I'm still here. That's the quiet gratitude Sundays bring, the kind that sneaks up on you when you're not looking for it. You realize how much you've been holding: stress, deadlines, emotions, and somehow, in the fading light, it feels a little lighter. Now let's talk food again, because Sunday dinner hits different. For me, it's rarely something fancy. Sometimes I'll cook just for the vibes. Maybe pasta, maybe soup. Something that makes the kitchen smell cozy. Other times, I'll just order takeout and call it supporting small businesses. There's a special comfort in those lazy dinners. You're not rushing, not checking your phone every 5 seconds. You're just there, stirring the pot, humming along to whatever playlist you've got on. Even something as simple as boiling noodles feels grounding. You taste, you adjust, you breathe. It's slow, mindful, human. And if you're eating alone, that's okay too. Solo dinners can be a love language. I'll light a candle, sit cross-legged at the table, and pretend I'm in a movie. Because, honestly, every woman deserves to romanticize her own life, even if it's just mac and cheese in a mismatched bowl. Sometimes I'll put on a comfort show while I eat. You know, something I've already seen 20 times, so I don't actually have to watch it. Just background laughter, soft dialogue. It fills the silence like a friend would. That's the thing about Sunday evenings. You don't need grand plans. You just need comfort. Around 7-ish, I always feel that little Sunday shift. The, oh no, tomorrow's Monday energy creeping in. It's funny, the day's been calm, lazy, perfect. But as the sun sets, reality slowly tiptoes back into the room. The emails waiting, the alarm clock that's about to betray you, the clothes you forgot to wash. That little buzz of anxiety, we all know it. The Sunday scaries. But I've learned to soften it instead of fight it. Here's what I do. I make tea. Something herbal, cozy, maybe chamomile. I wrap myself in a blanket, put my phone face down, and just breathe. Then I remind myself, tomorrow doesn't have to be scary. It's just another day. And I've survived every Monday so far, right? It's funny how much power simple rituals have. Tea, soft lighting, slow breathing. They turn anxiety into calm. So yeah, when that nervous energy hits, don't resist it. Sit with it. Let it pass like a wave. Remind yourself, it's okay to not have it all together. Because Sundays aren't about fixing yourself. They're about being kind to yourself. Sometimes, if I'm feeling a little more mindful, I'll grab my journal. Not for deep therapy-level journaling, just soft notes to myself. Little things like, today felt peaceful. Or, I laughed at something dumb online. Or, I'm proud of myself for resting.
Writing it down helps me remember that not every good day has to be productive. We tend to document our chaos, our goals, our problems, our plans. But documenting peace, that's just as important. Because one day, when life feels overwhelming again, you'll flip through those pages and remember, calm is possible. You've felt it before. I always think about how our spaces reflect our minds. On Sundays, I like to make little adjustments. Not cleaning exactly, but tidying just enough to create calm energy. I'll fold the blanket, light a candle, maybe spritz some lavender spray. Instant vibe shift. You don't need a full reset routine like the YouTubers do. Sometimes it's just about creating a soft space to end the day. I'll dim the lights, open the window a little to let in that cool evening air, and put on my favorite playlist. Something mellow, like acoustic covers or lo-fi beats. It's these small, quiet choices that tell your brain, you're safe. You can rest now. The little Sunday check-in. If I'm being honest, lazy Sundays also bring out the introspective side of me. The version that starts thinking about life, goals, people, love, the future, while staring at the ruling like I'm in a movie montage. I laugh softly. I'll start asking myself those random reflective questions. Not in a heavy way, just curious. Am I living in alignment with what I actually want? What made me smile this week? Who do I miss and why? What do I want more of? Sometimes the answers surprise me. Sometimes I just shrug and say, that's a problem for Tuesday. But either way, I think reflection is easier when you're calm, when you're not rushing, when your mind isn't racing. That's when truth whispers the loudest. Lazy Sundays give you that stillness, that moment to check in, gently, without judgment. The cozy night routine, aka chaos in pajamas. Eventually, I drag myself to start my night routine, which sounds much fancier than it is. It's basically brushing my teeth, washing my face, and trying to convince myself not to scroll TikTok for another hour. I'll tie my hair up, put on my comfiest pajamas, and maybe throw on a face mask. Not because I'm trying to glow, but because it feels soothing. That's the key. Doing things for how they feel, not how they look. I'll sit in bed, room dimly lit, sipping my tea, and just exist. No to-do lists, no overthinking, just letting the day fade. There's something sacred about ending a day without rushing into the next. And little gratitude moment. Before I sleep, I try to name 3 small things I'm grateful for. Not big achievements, just the small, soft joys of today. Like the sunlight through the curtains this morning. The comfort of my favorite mug. The fact that I didn't have to pretend to be productive. Gratitude doesn't have to be grand. Sometimes it's just acknowledging that life is still giving you small reasons to smile. And when I think of it like that, Mondays stop feeling so intimidating. Because if I can find joy in a lazy Sunday, maybe I can find peace in the chaos too. The Sunday energy in you. Here's the thing I've realized. Lazy Sundays aren't really about the day itself. They're a reminder of what you need more often. Stillness, slowness, ease. What if we didn't wait for Sundays to feel this calm? What if we carried this energy, this soft, cozy, forgiving energy, into the week? You don't have to rush back into the grind. You can bring pieces of Sunday with you. A slower morning, a few mindful breaths, a cup of tea before work,
a softer tone when talking to yourself. That's how you make peace a habit, not a reward. So yeah, this is your reminder. You don't have to do more to be enough. You don't have to hustle every second to prove your worth. Some days, you just get to be. Messy bun, oversized t-shirt, unshowered, fully human. And that's beautiful.
Hey again. So, it's night now. The kind of night that feels like a sigh of relief. The world outside is quiet, my phone's finally on silent, and my lamp's casting this warm, golden glow over everything. We made it. Through the day, through the week, through all the little things that felt heavier than they should have. Now it's just still. I don't know about you, but there's something about Sunday nights that feels like being suspended in time. Like you're not fully in this week anymore, but you haven't quite stepped into the next one either. You're floating in between. Calm, cozy, a little nostalgic. This is my favorite part. The world's quiet enough that you can actually hear yourself think. The end of day glow. Let's paint the scene. I'm in bed, hair tied up, skin still warm from washing my face. My blanket feels heavier than usual, in that comforting, weighted way. There's a cup of tea on my nightstand. It's probably gone cold, but that's okay. It's just nice knowing it's there. The only sound is the hum of the ceiling fan and the occasional car passing outside. It's peaceful, in a way that feels earned. You know that subtle satisfaction of having done absolutely nothing but feeling full anyway? That's the beauty of lazy Sundays. They fill you up in ways busy days can't. It's like your body and your mind finally catch up to each other and say, hey, we're okay. The gentle winding down. I think nights like this are meant for softness. Soft lights, soft music, soft thoughts. I'll usually grab my journal or sometimes just open the Notes app and spill out whatever's still swirling in my head. No structure, no pressure to sound deep, just a little brain dump before sleep. Something like, today was calm, I needed this, I'm grateful for slow days. It's not poetry, it's presence. Sometimes I'll even write little letters to myself. Things like, hey, I know you've been tired lately, but look, you made it to another Sunday. You're doing better than you think. Those words matter, especially when they come from you to you. We spend so much time being our own critic, we forget we can also be our own comfort. We spend so much time being our own critic, we forget we can also be our own comfort. The mind wander. Have you ever noticed how at night your brain just drifts? Not in a stressful way, but gently. You start thinking about random things, old memories, conversations, songs you haven't heard in years. It's like your mind's doing a little housekeeping before sleep. Sometimes I'll think about the week ahead, not the deadlines or plans, but little hopes. Like, maybe I'll try to be kinder to myself this week. Maybe I'll actually drink more water. Maybe I'll smile more at strangers. Tiny intentions, not heavy resolutions. Because I think that's what Sundays teach us, how to be gentle with ourselves. We don't need to overhaul our lives overnight. We just need to keep choosing calm over and over again. Nighttime comforts. There's this one little ritual I do every Sunday night. It's not even fancy, but it always grounds me. I'll turn off all the lights except for one lamp, crawl under the blanket, and just listen. Sometimes I'll play a slow playlist. Sometimes it's a podcast or a rain sound loop, or nothing at all. That silence, that's sacred. We underestimate how healing quiet can be. We're so used to noise, notifications, voices, deadlines, that we forget our souls crave silence. Pause. Silence isn't emptiness. It's space. Space for peace to enter. Sunday kind of love for yourself. You know that old saying, Sunday kind of love? It always sounded like something romantic, like waiting for someone special. But lately, I've been thinking maybe that Sunday love is the love you give yourself. The slow, unhurried, unconditional kind. The love that says you don't have to do anything to deserve rest. You don't have to fix everything right now. You're allowed to be a little undone. That's self-love, not bubble baths and selfies, though love those too, but acceptance. It's being okay with where you are, even if it's not where you thought you'd be. It's whispering to yourself, you're enough for tonight. And maybe that's the real magic of lazy Sundays. They remind us that being is enough. You don't need to chase, perform, prove. You just get to be here, breathing, alive, soft. The Sunday to Monday transition. Okay, let's talk about that bittersweet shift when the night gets quieter and you realize Monday's peeking around the corner. I used to hate that feeling, the pit in your stomach, the mental checklist starting to buzz again, but I've learned to see it differently. Now, instead of dreading Monday, I try to reframe it. Like, hey, Monday's just another version of today, except with clothes that aren't pajamas. Seriously though, Monday doesn't have to ruin your calm. You can carry your Sunday energy into it. Maybe wake up 5 minutes earlier and stretch. Drink your coffee slower. Play soft music while you get ready. Turn Monday into mini Sunday moments, tiny pauses of peace throughout your day. That's how calm becomes a lifestyle, not a once-a-week miracle. Carrying the calm. Here's something I want you to remember. The version of you that exists on lazy Sundays, she's not a temporary escape. She's you at peace. The calm you feel today isn't because it's Sunday. It's because you finally gave yourself permission to slow down. So the next time you feel overwhelmed midweek, close your eyes and think of this version of you. Wrapped in a blanket, sipping tea, soft music playing. She's always there. You just have to make space for her. Pause. That's what carrying the calm means. It's not about controlling life. It's about moving through it gently. Nighttime, the final wind down. All right, my tea's definitely cold now. The room's dim, the air's still, and my eyelids are starting to feel heavy. But before we wrap this up, let's do a tiny nighttime reset together. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Let go of the week that's behind you. Let go of the pressure waiting in the week ahead. Right now, in this moment, everything is okay. You've done enough. You are enough. Feel the softness of your blanket, the rhythm of your breathing, the stillness of the night. That's peace. That's yours. If today was slow, quiet, maybe even uneventful, that's perfect, because healing isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just you resting. The quiet goodbye. Before I drift off, I just want to say thank you for spending your Sunday with me, for slowing down, for letting yourself be real and imperfect. I know life can be chaotic. I know sometimes we forget to breathe, but I hope, at least for today, you found a little pocket of calm. And I hope you remember, you can always come back to this feeling. You can always choose peace. You can always give yourself the love you've been waiting for. Now, go ahead and close your eyes. Let the world fade out. Let the quiet wrap around you. Good night, my fellow Sunday soul. You did amazing by simply being. Until next Sunday, stay cozy, stay kind, and keep that calm close to your heart.